Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the Ted Show. I'm super excited to have this young lady on the show. It's Christine Garber with ChristineGarberRealtor.com. She's a real estate professional. She also has horses. She's funny. She's got a lot to say, and I'm super excited to hear your origin story. Welcome, Christine. How you doing today?
Hey, Ted, how are you today? Thanks for
I
having me
am
on the show.
fantastic. We have a good time. We're both at our houses. She's got her new house behind you. Wink, wink.
I really
I've
love
got my
being
real
out.
house behind me, my daughter's room. You just got to go with the flow, but it's all about the person. So when I met Christine, we have some mutual friends, and I would just love her energy and thought, God, she'd be a great guest on the show. And then she started talking a little bit about horses, and I'm like, I'm sold. So without further ado, Christine, welcome and tell them a little bit about your origin story.
Well, I have kind of a variety of origins, if you want to say. I actually started out in the insurance field, almost as exciting as being a realtor. As,
What kind of insurance?
I started out in actually work comp, at doing claims adjusting. And so I did work comp, I did commercial liability, I did auto, personal lines, and actually did that almost right out of college. I just fell right into it, got a good job making pretty decent money, and then never got out.
Is
So
that what you went to college for?
no, I just got a business degree, and I got hired at an insurance company because the salary was pretty good, and did the whole working two jobs, putting myself through college and, all that hard stuff. And then when I got a job and it was only one job and no school, and, did the 8 to 5 instead of the, 7 in the morning until 12 at night, 7 days a week, I
Right.
kind of felt like I was on vacation. So when I got a real job at an insurance company, I actually did that for almost, 30 years. I was in the same field. So, yeah, so I did insurance for 10 years, and then jumped the fence and worked for attorneys, plaintiff attorneys, doing PI work for another 10 years. And then I started my own business about 12 years ago, helping injured patients get treatment. So I have a
Yes, I love that. That's right. I forgot about that. Talk about the impetus behind that. What was the why?
Well, I worked for an awesome attorney in Orlando, and we ended up parting ways on, good note. It's the economy and all of that, and so decided that since I did fairly well making her a lot of money, I figured there's got to be a way that I can use what I have to make myself money. And I'm very self-motivated person. So I don't really need somebody to watch over me and, tell me what to do. Usually it doesn't go over well anyway. I'm not
That's an honest answer.
really a good person to tell what to do. So I learned that working for myself was the best thing for me and my personality. So I started my own business. I'm a subcontractor, and I have a network of medical offices throughout Central Florida that I work for, that treat auto accident patients, slip and fall, work comp injuries, those types of traumas. And what I do is I actually market to doctors' offices that do not accept those types of patients, and basically turn them away. They don't have anywhere to send them because they won't bill that type of insurance. Um, so they refer them to me, and then I walk them through the entire process, explain how coverage works, where the coverage comes from, and why. And then I try to get them over to a doctor of mine that treats that type of injury. If the patient has an injury that doesn't really fit my doctor's needs, then usually I'll just give them names of other offices and doctors that do take those types of insurance so that they can get the help they need. So I've been doing that for about 12 years.
That is so creative.
Yeah,
I
there's a
like
few
that.
of us out there. Usually we have not a good name for us. Usually, it is what it is, but I've have a pretty good reputation and have
No, but
been
you're
around
serving
a long
such a
time.
beautiful need. It is, if you've ever been a patient trying to maneuver through the minutia of the healthcare system and you're injured badly or whatever level, It
Yeah,
is a lot to get through that. So to have an
it really
advocate,
is.
somebody helping you, that's a blessing.
And the way our system set up here in the state of Florida is very unique and different than most states. People that get in a car accident, they think, oh, I'll just call my family doctor. My family doctor will see me. And family doctors don't usually take car accident patients. They'll actually turn you away and say, I don't take it. And they don't take it because billing for auto is really different than health insurance. The laws are different, the criteria are different, and so they just don't want to mess with it. And let's be honest, they also don't want to have to deal with the attorney side. They don't
Right.
have to go through litigation and sit in court. They're doctors, and they'd much rather just treat their patients, and that's it. So there's certain doctors that they don't mind doing that. It's kind of a um, larger risk, bigger reward type process. They get paid
Sure.
more money by the auto insurance, but they also have to fight harder to get paid.
To get it.
Certain
Yes.
doctors that will do that, and certain ones that just don't. They don't want to do it.
That takes a
So,
lot of tenacity on your part. That's for sure.
yeah. And the nice thing about what I do is my service is free. So I get paid by the doctor. So the patients actually benefit from all of the knowledge that I have had in the last 30 years being in the industry. I'm able to walk them through everything, answer any questions, explain the auto process and the insurance and how personal injury protection works and all of that, and give them a lot more information than if they were to just call a doctor's office, because they call the doctor's office and they just schedule them and that's it, and they
Right.
still don't know how the process works. So it's been a nice niche, but I don't know if you know, they've been trying to get rid of personal injury protection for ever, almost as
Ever.
long as I've been in the industry.
Me too.
And I keep thinking one day, it's going to happen. And last year it went through the House and the Senate and it was voted out. And it got sent to our governor, who ended up vetoing it. So it went farther than it's ever gone in my time in the industry. So I decided that 30 years is a long time to be in an industry, and I wanted to do something different.
Oh,
So
yeah. So let's talk about, gosh, you should take this show over. I'm going to sit back, let you do all the transitions. I love it.
yeah,
Tell them what you started doing and why.
so, COVID hit, and when COVID hit, it changed all our lives. A lot of things got, brought to our attention on what's important in life, what's not important in life, and realizing that in a blink of an eye, your whole life can change. So some of this occurred in my life, and I decided that I wanted to do something different. And so I sat down and thought, what are my passions in life? What gets me going? What are the things that put a smile on my face? That I've always enjoyed helping people, but how can I help somebody still be able to feed my family and just really love what I want to, what I do? They say you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Right. It's a magical formula. It's just
Yeah,
a lot of people don't know how to find it. They don't know what
no.
it is.
And a lot of people don't have the abilities because, having this business I've had for 12 years has been very good to me. Um, and it enabled me to still do that. I still do that on the side, but enable to try to find something that makes me smile. And believe it or not, it became real estate. So I come from a background. My father worked for AT&T, which is kind of like being a military brat. um,
Because you had to move around.
Moved all the time. I mean, by the time I graduated high school, I had been to 11 different schools in 3 different states. We moved about every 2.5 to 3.5 years my entire life. My parents built, homes from scratch. We did it all. So I kind of grew up, moving.
Transient.
That
You
was
were all over the
it.
place.
I'd get somewhere, I'd get settled, I'd meet a bunch of friends, and I'd come home from school and the sign would be in the yard. And next thing I knew, I was in a different school district, sometimes in a different state. So my mom was very good at real estate. She always said location, location, location. And we'd go house searching and house riding. And so I thought, you know what, let's give it a try. I'm going to be 51 this year, which I
Well,
can't
you
believe
look
that.
amazing.
51. So why not start all over in a whole new career when you're 50? Like, who
I
does
get
that?
it. I mean, but if you're following your passion,
I
if
am.
you're following, so I think a lot of people get scared. I'm in the 50-ish range, not for too long, but I'm still here. And I feel like even in our age group, even people in their 40s, they don't want to make a move because they're like, gosh, I've already put all this time in. But they're at a job they don't like, a career they don't like. They don't enjoy what they do anymore if they ever did to begin with. And so I think I'm seeing a lot more people in their 50s and late 40s shift.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
seeing it.
You got it.
So it's one thing to want to do it. It's another thing to get into it. So what year did you transition in as a realtor?
So, as a matter of fact, about a week ago was my 1 year anniversary. So,
Congratulations.
I started my journey in 2021, and I had a setback. I had a family member that was really sick and had to kind of postpone it a little bit, but not long, just long enough to have to study all over again. I
I
did
get it.
that. And I passed my test in March of 2022. And I started out working with Coldwell Banker, and learned a lot. I learned a lot in a year's time. I learned that real estate is not easy. If you think
What? Come
you're
on,
gonna
it's all glamorous and champagne and
get no,
parties and giant checks.
it is a lot of work. It takes a lot of perseverance. That the saying is 89% of all real estate agents fail in the first 3 years they become a realtor.
Yeah.
And after you become a realtor, you really get that. You get that
Right?
statistic. And you're surprised that it's not sooner and higher. It's just more people start getting their license. So as they come in, then the other half leaves.
Well, so you
So
you started the journey in 2021 when the market was on fire.
yes,
And when you came in 2022, that's where the slowdown or the shift, I like to say,
yes,
started to happen. Being
it
a
was
realtor
crazy.
you have so many hats that you have to wear, in addition to making sure your clients are good, marketing, balancing, all babysitting is what I call it, all the different people involved in the transaction,
Yes.
juggling, and then you're still working on marketing. You're still working on getting other listings and other buyers, and it is a lot of work that the realtor does.
Well, and honestly, Ted, when you hire a realtor, you've got to like, know, and trust who you're hiring. That's just plain and simple. And I know that some people think a broker is really important in the process, but the realtor is really who's doing who's doing most of the work.
Yeah.
So knowing and trusting and liking your realtor is so important, because if you don't have a connection with your realtor, that realtor's got to find you that dream home. That realtor has to know and understand you have to have some sort of relationship with that person to be able to have that person look and search for that dream home. And if they don't know you, like you,
I
or
know.
vice versa, that relationship is going to affect everything in the process,
It's so critical, that trust. I think our
and not
industry as a whole.
every realtor is the same. Every,
No, let's talk a little bit about that, and then I want to ask about your recent shift as well.
yes,
I feel like 2020 and 2021 were just boom years where everybody and their brother got their real estate license or mortgage license, and we had a lot of people come in who may or may not have come in for the right reasons, not the long haul. And so I'm thankful for the stabilization, I like to call it, the shift,
me too.
because it's weeding out the people who really didn't have a passion for it, maybe who didn't take the education and the relationship seriously enough to continue. So I'm with you on that. So you made another shift though.
I did.
recently. Talk about your move to LPT.
So, Caldwell Banker is a great company. I have, no ill will. I think they're wonderful.
They are.
Something that I have learned in my, newly started adventure is brokers are, they're important. Oh, let's see. I'm not super good at being diplomatic. Um,
That's okay. I
um,
understand what you don't necessarily need a broker for you.
I got very, I got, now my broker with Coldwell was amazing. He helped guide me through my transactions and all that. But it's like, as an agent, you get your license, you study all of this information that you never use. Like, you never use it. It's just like any license. When I got my All Lines license to be a claims adjuster, a whole bunch of information that you never use. Like, there's not any actual training on how to be a realtor unless you are with certain brokerage firms. Certain brokerage firms will give you all the training in the world, but then take half your commission.
Right.
So you get trained, but then you don't make any money because they're taking half of your commission. And then you've got the brokers that don't show you anything, and you get a higher split, but you're on your own and you get to figure out how to do everything by yourself.
My favorite brokers are the ones that give a fair higher split, but make sure that their realtors are
Know what they're
educated
doing.
and fed, and that they're working with them on developing their business plans and don't leave them just high and dry. And I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of great brokers out there. I know many of them that care so much about the production of the agent that they go above and beyond on all that stuff, because technically realtors are 1099 independent contractors.
Yeah.
I mean, really. So
And
kudos to the brokers that do.
every agent is different. You're going to have people that are go-getters that want to learn and, really jump on the bandwagon of teaching themselves. And then you're going to have the ones that they're like, well, hand me the work,
Right.
give me everything. And those are the agents that aren't going to make it, because
Correct.
if you don't want to market yourself, you don't want to get out there on social media, you don't want to build relationships with people, nobody's going to know, like, and trust you. Nobody's going to believe you're credible in what you do. And if you don't have the personality to get out there and do those types of things, you're going to suffer. It's going to be a long, hard roll, and the broker's not going to do that for you, nor should they.
No,
That's
no.
not their role. And I think that a lot of agents get mixed up, especially the newer agents. They'll be like, well, where are my leads? Well, aren't you going to send me work? No, they're not.
Well,
And
I think being at 1099, you're not. 2020 and 2021, there were a lot of order takers. But if you don't have initiative-driven people who know how to self-start, and they're just used to being fed everything, then when the market shifted, they struggled because
Yep.
they were just used to being fed. But what was it about LPT? And then I'll move on to horses, because I love horses. What was it about LPT that made you make this shift?
LPT, I'm fairly new. I've only been with them now a few weeks. But what a difference. Like, just an amazing difference. It seems more agent geared. It seems more logical from the agent's perspective. Simple. It's like the simplicity of the forms and the system. You get in, and there's a connect board where you can find all your stuff, and there's not like 100 different apps, because you're like, okay, well, where do I find XYZ? Oh, well, you got to go to this app, and then it goes links to this one, and then it goes to this one, and then it goes to this one, and this one, and this one, and then you forget what you're even looking for. And let's face it, I heard somebody say, wow, you were born in the 19th century. And I'm thinking about it, it's 2023. So people that were born in the 2000, era, they're 23 years old. Like, Yes, I was born in the 19th century, and technology is way different than DOS and dial-up and
Remember
phones,
dial-up?
pay
Woo!
phones, and no cell phones, and a map book. Like, I remember opening a map book to find where I needed to market back in the day.
Yeah.
Things are a lot different now. So LPT has just taken it and put it in such a simple form that even the dinosaur that, the 19th century people that are now realtors can figure out how to get into their system. They give access to a CRM called Chime. And I contacted Chime not knowing that I had to go through LPT to do it, and just for like a tutorial. And the guy calls me back and he says, "Oh, well, you're with LPT. You get that for free. We don't do the tutorial. You have to go through LPT." So, I found where to go through it. But I said to him out of curiosity, how much does this cost? It's like $400 just for your CRM that LPT doesn't charge the realtors at all for. And it's a system that actually works. Like, it's set up for us. And I know that other brokerage firms have similar things, but they don't seem to work very well, And the other thing LPT does is gives us, so much free stuff. LPT has set it up so that when we sell real estate, we get our own phone number that we put on our signs, and each seller has a code. So when you're driving by a house and you go, "Oh my gosh, I really like that house," you literally dial the phone number and text a code into your phone, and it will automatically send you all the information on that house, the website, everything related to that house. And then it texts me as the seller agent, letting me know that you might be interested in this home so I can contact you. Just way above and beyond what any brokerage firm is doing right now.
I feel like Robert and his team definitely think they're 10 steps ahead. I guarantee you there's things they haven't even started talking about releasing, but that they have figured out and give back.
And I guarantee it. In a year or two, everybody's going to be doing the same thing, but it started with LPT.
I agree. All right. So I'd be remiss as we start to wrap up. We have to talk about horses. I'm a big horse fan. I've not ridden that much, but I have such a love for their beauty and grace, and they're just exquisite animals. And you are a horse person. Tell them about your horses.
I am not actually a horse person, but my daughter has forced me into being a horse person. So about 2019, we actually lived over in the Sweetwater area in a subdivision like everybody else. My daughter started riding horses when she was 4 years old. And at about the second horse lesson, her trainer said, "Oh, Mom, I hope you're ready. She's going to be a lifer." And I looked at the trainer and I'm like, she's 4. 4 years old. I'm like, what do you mean she's going to be a lifer? She's like, "I've been doing this for a long time." She says, "And I can see them when they come, and your daughter is literally going to be a lifer." And I thought, okay, sure. Right. So fast forward, about 2019, my kids both went to a private Christian school, and my son was having some learning disabilities, and we had to find some public school assistance to get him what he needed. And where we lived was in a school district that I didn't want to send my kids to. So I searched for a school district that I thought would benefit him, and we put the house on the market and we moved. So we moved over to the Oviedo area, very good school district that we found. And as we're looking for homes, a house comes available with horses, and basically a 5-acre piece of property in a small little town called Chuliota. You sneeze and you're through it. I think it's literally one road. And so 5 acres, and there's 12 horse stalls, a 12 barn, horse barn in the backyard. So we get there, and of course, my daughter lights up like a Christmas tree. She at this time is 11, and we've always wanted to get her a horse, but just could never really afford it because let's face it, they're really expensive.
Yeah.
So I looked to my husband and I said, "What do you think? Should we do it? Let's, we could do it and rent the stalls out. We could get my daughter a horse and she could ride in the backyard, and then the boarding would offset, the mortgage." And my husband was like, "You're nuts." And I was like, "Pretty much." And everyone's like, "Have you ever done this before?" I'm like, "Nope. I literally hold the rope and write the checks. My daughter knows. I know nothing. I know literally nothing. They have 4 legs, a tail. They're pretty. I know nothing." So we bought the house. We moved in. We've been here since 2019. My daughter we bought a horse a few months after we moved in. We board horses. So we do have other horses on the property. And a year ago in January, my daughter decided she wanted to train a wild Mustang. So we adopted a wild Mustang a year ago. We drove up to Bell, Florida, and brought home a wild Mustang. And when I tell you wild, he was wild. Like, we couldn't go anywhere near him. And my daughter was 13, and she's 14 now. And she has spent the year, it took her about 4 or 5 months. She's got a halter on him, a saddle. He stands for the farrier.
Wow.
He stands for the vet. She rides him. And she trained him all by herself.
She is the horse whisperer.
She is. She's very talented. And then we have a 9-year-old thoroughbred that she does her jumping. She's an eventer, so she does jumping and dressage and cross country. And she's amazing, just amazing. So we have 33 chickens. We have a total of 6 horses on the farm. We have 2 dogs, 2 cats, 2 pet rats, 2 kids, and a husband.
Jeez. And look how beautiful your house is in the background there.
Isn't it beautiful? There's not a single piece of sand or dust anywhere.
I love it. So we'll share, if you still have stalls available. I don't know if you do. You can obviously share. I want you to share that. Before I let you wrap up and you share all your information, I love to ask this question of guests. You don't know it. You haven't heard it, so don't think don't worry, I won't make you feel bad. I don't do that kind of stuff on this show. But when I say the word hero, who's the first person who comes to mind?
Wow, that's a tough one. I'd say my parents. As much as there's like sort of a little bit of a love-hate relationship.
Normal.
My mom's been gone 15 years now. She died of diabetes when she was 61 years old. She died when I was actually pregnant with my daughter. But she always told me, never rely on somebody else to make you happy and to give you what you need in life. She was a stay-at-home mom. She didn't really work. But she always said, don't marry money, be money.
Love that.
She was very, very different. She was very difficult to get along with. Very difficult. Very strong and determined. But I think I got a lot of that from her. And my dad was always the breadwinner. I grew up in a generation where mom stayed home and dad worked.
Yeah.
And my dad was always a very hard worker, very organized and detail oriented and very smart. My mom had the common sense. My dad had the book smarts. And I'd like to say I have a little more common sense than book smart. But they always believed in having good credit, being faithful, being honest, being hardworking, and just doing your best in life and living for the now. What do you want to do that makes you happy? And don't know, I guess, they really instilled work ethic and determination and all those things in me that I think I got from them, because now as a mom, I'm trying to teach my kids this, and I feel like, my God, it's almost the impossible task. Maybe when they're 25, they say that, everything starts to fall into place. I don't know.
It's usually as they get older.
Yeah, but I have teenagers now, and I look at my parents and think, wow, I really was a good kid, and I really turned out well. What's going to happen with my kids? Because
Right. I'm sure they're going to turn out
sometimes
fantastic.
What do we do with teenagers? Like, can we give them back?
That's for a whole nother show.
That's a whole nother TED show.
It was such a great answer. Thank you for going into it, because I never know how people are going to answer that, but every time it brings up some sort of really good insight. So thank you.
It's funny because until you asked me that question, I don't know if I really ever thought of it that way. I mean, you think of your parents as your parents, and the older you get, the more you see the mistakes they made in life. But the older you get, the more you realize how many you've made in your life. And
I don't even want to count, and I don't want my children to count.
No.
All right. So as we wrap up, tell them how they can find out more about you, your real estate business, and the horses.
Yes. So the name of our farm is Spring Acres. We do have a Facebook page. I don't really have a website. We're small family owned. So if you Google Spring Acres, you can certainly find me. My Facebook page is Spring Acres. And I believe you'll probably provide some of the information below.
I will.
My daughter does little horseback riding lessons for the little kids. We do some parent morning outs. We do some fun stuff. So if you're interested, just give me a shout. Give me a call. My phone number is the same with my real estate versus my injury versus my farm. You can get a hold of me anytime, 407-716-1325. And my real estate email is my name, Christine Garber, and it's Realtor, REALTOR @gmail.com. So, and I also have a website for my real estate, is also the same as my email, ChristineGarberRealtor.com. So
all scrolling across the bottom. You've been a joy. I loved it. Thank you so much. Come back on anytime. Christine's going to take some pictures and maybe some video, and we'll get to see some of the horses. I'll put those in the comments below. Thank you so much for sharing. That was so much.
Thank you so much for having me on, Ted. I ran into him at the Citrus Club, and he just was so, I don't know, it's like the light just shines off you, Ted. You're just very happy. It just, you radiate just goodness. So when I met you, I was like, I really want to know this guy. Like, this guy is pretty awesome.
Oh, see that? I didn't even have to pay her to say that, y'all.
A snazzy dresser. You should see.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, thank you. So that made my whole day. Thank you so much, y'all. Reach out to Christine Garber. It's Christine Garber Realtor @gmail.com or ChristineGarberRealtor.com. Facebook, Spring Acres, and obviously Facebook. I'm sure you can reach her there too in any way, shape, or form. And we'll put her phone number in the comments below with the rest of the links. Y'all have a good one. Christine, come back anytime. Thank you so much. I loved your insights, and I loved all your stuff.